Okay, I want to show you guys something, alright? This is what it's called, the Keisha. At least that's what I know it by. Don't worry, it's not ganja, it's not marijuana. It's not tobacco either. Uh, just kind of just relaxes you. It's not illegal in America. Uh, as for the exact plant name, I don't know. Like ganja is called cannabis indica or stuff like that. I only know it, by the common name, just like how you say, rabbit tobacco or the plants of paradise, for the weeds that are grown outside your house. This I don't know what it is, but the fa- the family I got it from, obviously, it's a cultural thing to smoke. This is not like they sell it in the stores. They're actually Ethiopian Orthodox, um, which is separate. They're different, separate communions. I'm in the Eastern Orthodoxy. They're Oriental Orthodox, and the difference was a misunderstanding over words. Really, what I see it as. I don't see it necessarily as a disagreement with Chalcedon, because what happened was is you had um, documents that were translated from Syriac, which is Aramaic, into Greek, and then on into Latin, and then the Latin fathers reading them and then reacting to them by writing in Latin and then having that translated into Greek and then having that translated to Syriac, which obviously, if you're dealing with words um, that talk about persons and substance and essence, um, how essence is different from person or how substance is different from person. That again, and see what I did there? I used essence and substance as that could originally that would be the same word. In our English language, it turns into two words. So you can imagine how that goes over from Latin to Greek into Syriac. But the Ethiopians, I think it's kind of funny. They're the only ones who can actually say, yeah, they're absolute uh, monophysite instead of monothelite. Now, monophysite or monophysite, however you want to call it, the monophysites were strongly in Ethiopia under the Solomonids. When the Solomonids held sway in Ethiopia, um, they were the Christians of the 12th century. They were after all the ecumenical councils, and they were still strongly monophysite or monophysite, again, however you want to pronounce it. And there were some regions of Armenia that had wound up blending with paganism. And it's kind of funny, the paganism of Armenia is actually still alive in the Hill Country. It just wound up getting preserved in a concoction, a cocktail of Christianity and of natural paganism. Um, which is kind of normally people would take that as an insult, but I think it it's kind of a gentle paganism that they have. It's not really, I don't think you should really condemn it as, oh, it's evil, or because it heard that messianic call and it came into orthodoxy. So I don't. We never slander any of the Zoroastrians that come into Christianity. We see them equal to the Jews. So as we welcome the Jews, I think it's right that they do welcome their ancestors into it. They have full part, and I think everybody's ancestors does. I think the whole world is open to the incarnation, and I think it always has been because the incarnation is outside of time. Um, but to get back on the topic, I didn't want to talk about the Chalcedonian split monophysites right now, but I guess that this kind of stuff does lead into it, get you calm, relaxed talking. And I think it's got, as you could see, right now. It's not like I'm falling over, foaming at the mouth, or uh, an angry drunk right now. I don't think it turns you into that. But then again, I don't think cigarettes do. Um, I plan on quitting smoking, but again, with this, is it so arbitrary that we label things sinful? I mean, cigarettes, alcohol. I mean, where do you say there's sin, and where do you just say, well, that's just not good health? Now, sin does just mean to miss the mark, to get it wrong. Um, but isn't that why we have a separation? I mean, I do realize separation, making the distinction of sacred and profane is good, but to just destroy the idea, you'd have to go into so many different things to say, okay, we're going to say something that was never seen as wrong before. Oh, now since we know it, since we know there's some bad effects, then now we have to all shift the way everything was done. Well, that sounds in when you talk about it very good. Yeah, we're going to change all these things, but then you have to also experience the consequences of it too. You you would have to take away something, which is also going to be strange to mankind. How can something that people already naturally do? Is it a moral evil? I mean, that applied, if you were to talk in that language about something like slavery or women's inequality, would be right. But then that creeps up. It almost creates just a strange political side with everything. I don't know. Just gets kind of weird. How do you describe the politics of somebody doing something? Is this something? I mean, it says in the Bible, the things that are wicked you hide and you're ashamed of. Well, this is something that I don't I'm not ashamed of. It's not something that, I'd go out, oh, like I'm doing something wrong, you know? And I don't see why, I guess. It's kind of a funny argument against Christians. I guess I would never, to an atheist, this is just nonsense. I'm just babbling. But to the Christian, and I don't want to say the Christian mind because it's obviously I don't think it is. I think it's just humanity, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to a judgmental or to a somebody, and I've ran into these people in surprising amount in the church too, of just this kind of backlash of somebody not concerned for my salvation, but offended at the things that they perceive as sin. I don't want to relate to anybody other's suffering, but it strikes me as odd. So how does it hit you if you look at the transgender or the homosexual? I guess that makes me think about them of like they have no they're just naturally like that. They don't whatever, that's who they are. And then somebody else is personally offended. I mean, they're talking to them in a religious sense, right? Wait, you're going to go to hell for this. It kind of like they are to me. But then at the same point, there's this kind of hostile thing of like they're offended at me. That doesn't. It's to a extent. It extremely less. I'm not having people put guns to my head like they do homosexuals. In many places of the world, they do that. But it's kind of funny. I've never really experienced this, but there's a Christian on here, an Orthodox Christian, who is angered at me smoking on here and mentioning I'm Orthodox, just like livid against me. I've talked to him in messages, and it's just an odd, like there's this very hostile of like, like they'd punch me in the face if they saw me. I mean, they're masking it. They're really trying to be nice, but they're really repulsed. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't know. This stuff's relaxing me, so I feel good. But this person's just wild. Am I, or am I just crazy? Like, I don't know. Like, just pissed off. I'm smoking. I'm not like murdering somebody. It's awesome. Sorry. It's just kind of what. That's just comedy. Like, how do you like? He's not. Okay, it's being too mean. I don't mean that, but it's just like this supposed Christian person who's like personally like I don't know. I This is not what I know Christianity as. That's not whatever he's doing with like how he addresses people is not really thing, but all right. I guess that's what I find out about it. But like I could just I mean, and I want to know about this. Is this so evil? Like I don't know. Because then you'd have to damn that whole culture basically, because that's as common as much as smoking here with smoking tobacco here was in like the 50s and 40s and 30s, or do you just exempt those people? Oh, they're just ignorant, like looking down on them, because you'd have to do that. I mean, if you just looked at everybody in the 30s and 40s, oh, they're just stupid, ignorant people. Yeah, I mean, is that how we address? Do we look at then, a culture that, oh, well, because of that, I don't know. This video probably doesn't make sense to many people. Kind of, it doesn't really make sense to me actually. To be honest, this whole thing's kind of weird. But okay.